Hello, welcome to our presentation on Sustainable Development Goal 5, Gender Equality, presented to you by Group A1.
It focuses on abolishing discrimination and the physical and mental abuse against women and girls in order for them to get treated as equal members of a society. It is common knowledge that despite improvements, full gender equality remains unreached. Furthermore, COVID-19 has become a major barrier to progress as it has intensified existing inequalities for women and girls across every sphere. Firstly, women's unpaid care work has increased significantly as a result of school closures and the increased needs of older people. Secondly, women are also harder hit by the economic impacts of the pandemic. Almost 60% of women work in the informal economy, which puts them at a greater risk of falling into poverty. This crisis has also led to a steep increase in violence against women and girls. Moreover, in terms of leadership roles, we know that the percentage of women's participation is worryingly low. However, women account for 70% of health and social workers fighting against the virus. We are aware of the severity of this inequality, but we believe in progress despite the barriers we face. Today, the voices of activists have become very strong and must be heard. There is still a long way to go, and we must take action so that these voices are not ignored. Women's participation in society and the end to this violence requires more effort, power, and action.
Now I will introduce some of the main targets of our SDG. Despite we consider there has been an improvement in the last few years, full gender equality remains unreached. The Department of Economic and Social Affairs of the United Nations states 8 main targets to promote gender equality. We'll center our attention mainly in 3. As 5.1 target says, all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere should be ended. 5.3 target highlights the importance to eliminate all harmful practices such as child, early and forced marriage and female genital mutilation. 5.5 goal states that to ensure women's full and effective participation and equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision making in political, economic and public life. This last target, 5.5, captured our attention. Therefore, we decided to investigate and research for a real changemaker association. This is when we discovered IWF, standing for International Women's Forum. The main objective of this association is to support the women leaders of today and tomorrow. The organization is composed by more than 7,000 members worldwide. Furthermore, we had the privilege and the amazing opportunity to interview Nieves Briz, Managing Partner Director at Dentons, the largest law firm in the world. Briz plays an important role representing the paper of women in the largest top firms and companies in all 193 countries. Since 2019, she is the president of IWF Spain, the previous association we mentioned. She is also a member of the board of directors of ACG and member of the advisory board Women Legal Practice of Siliger and Conde. Recently, she received a distinction as one of the top 100 women leaders in Spain. When we had the chance to talk to her and interview her, she remarked that she believes that the potential of women is unlimited, and the opportunities must be as well. One of the actions that she has recently implemented is to fight against gender inequality. This is why she has reached to an agreement between EY, one of the big 4 companies, and IWF. These 2 corporations now actively collaborate to promote the development and visibility of female talent. Both share common objectives with the principles of promoting leadership, equal opportunities, and the increase of presence of female gender in positions of maximum responsibility. As a group, we highly believe that this type of initiatives and associations will create in the future a better working world without distinctions between gender.
Regarding the indicators that take into consideration gender equality data, it is important to mention that gender equality is considered a fundamental human right for all men and women. Therefore, we need to keep searching for ways to measure gender equality in order to keep making a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. It is a truth universally acknowledged that there are many indicators that consider this kind of data. Nevertheless, some of the most important indicators are: firstly, the pay gap. These graphs show the difference of salaries between men and women in a percentage. According to Eurostat statistics, during 2019, the European country with the greater pay gap was Estonia, with 21.7%. From a global perspective, women are paid 16% less than men. Secondly, the amount of underage women who are induced to commit forced marriage is also an indicator. Additionally, according to Education, 21% of young women between 15 and 24 years are not in education, employment, or training during 2020, which is more than twice the men's rate, that is 14%. To sum up, several years ago, it was not that common to see a woman in a leadership role. Nowadays, in national parliaments, 1 in 4 seats are held by women. So only 25% of national parliaments and 36% in local governments are represented by women. I will now proceed to explain some of the implications that the global pandemic has had in our society. The pandemic has affected all areas of life, and gender equality has been one of them. Lockdowns are increasing the risk of violence against women and girls, either physical, sexual, or psychological. Cases of domestic violence have increased by 30% in some countries. Women already spend about 3 times as many hours in unpaid domestic and care work as men, and this has increased during this last year. It is important to mention this data and to keep analyzing it as it raises awareness about our topic. These are the most important and relevant indicators to take into account when looking over this SDG.
It is also important to highlight the progress this SDG has had over the years, looking at how it has improved the lives of women all over the world. We clearly state that thanks to the measures, policies, and actions taken, more girls are going to school, fewer girls are forced into early marriage, more women are serving in parliament and positions of leadership, and laws are being reformed to advance gender equality. However, it should also be noted that COVID-19 has harmed the progress. The Platform for Action imagines a world where each woman and girl can exercise her freedom and choices, as well as her rights such as to live free from violence, to go to school, to participate in decisions, and to earn equal pay for equal work. Beijing Platform for Action was declared in 1995. It is also the most progressive blueprint ever for advancing women's rights. Even 20 years later, it remains a powerful source of guidance and inspiration. We can appreciate the improvement it has brought to our society. Over the past decade, 131 countries enacted 274 legal and regulatory reforms in support of gender equality. More girls are in school than ever before. Parity in education has been achieved on average at the global level, yet large gaps remain across and within countries. Maternal mortality. The global maternal mortality rate is still too high, 211 deaths per 100,000 live births, but has fallen by 38% between 2000 and 2017. Currently, there are laws and regulations that ensure that there is no exclusion because of gender. Laws that protect gender equality are the following. Firstly, the International Covenant on Education, Social and Cultural Rights. This regulation entered into force on January 3 of the year 1976, based on the Article 7 that calls for ensuring that women have working conditions that are not inferior to men. Salary will need to be the same if the work done is the same. This regulation is done to fight against salary discrimination. Secondly, we should highlight the Directive 2006/54/EC of the European Parliament and of the Council, July 5, 2006. It is part of the Community Directives on Equality, whose objective is to protect the principle of equal opportunities, equal treatment, and non-discrimination of gender in the workplace. The directive includes harassment and sexual harassment on the basis of sex as forms of discrimination. To end, the European Letter of Equality of Women and Men in Local Life. It was developed by the Council of Municipalities and Regions of Europe, CMRE, in 2006. It indicates that equality between both sexes is a fundamental right and an essential value for democracy, that it is necessary to end gender stereotypes and promote equality. To conclude, it is remarkable to state that laws, regulations, or policies are necessary if we really want to impact on gender equality and meet the number 5 SDG.
Points of personal action. Several ways that individuals can minimize women inequality are as follows: standing up for individual rights, raising awareness, becoming an activist, sponsoring a child from an undeveloped country, and getting involved in politics. Standing up for your own rights and the rights of others around you can cause a ripple effect and influence the way women are viewed and treated in society. Moreover, having solid and unchangeable values helps spread awareness on how women get mistreated every day. Raising awareness can be as simple as telling your story, or the story of someone you know, to get the word out of how women are treated in developed and undeveloped countries. Every day, millions of women are working same jobs as men and getting paid less, while also being treated poorly. Change is needed. Becoming an activist for women equality can be done by creating an activist committee that gathers funds to raise awareness. This could look like starting petitions and forming peaceful protests. Millions of young girls in undeveloped countries are looking for a role model/parental figure to teach them and be there for them. Getting involved in these types of companies that connect you to unfortunate young girls can profoundly change their lives for the better. This way, they can live their life unafraid of being dragged into sex trade and other dangers that women face every day. Getting involved in politics can be the most beneficial way to minimize women inequality. Sponsoring feminist groups and signing petitions until change is clear. Furthermore, sharing information about your state's fertility score, as well as sharing information about legislation in your state. Lastly, sharing and being involved in top current federal legislative issues can help minimize women inequality.
Thanks for watching. We hope you liked this video.